So back to our channel. Today we are going to start with vascular distensibility of venous system. We are in our CVS physiology. So first let us see the important terms. What is central venous pressure? So the pressure which is measured at the right atrium by inserting a catheter through median cubital vein into superior vena cava. In our hand, this this one is the median cubital vein where it is present. So here what is the pressure which is measured at the right atrium. We are measuring the pressure at the right atrium mainly by inserting a catheter. We'll send a catheter by means of this median cubital vein into the superior vena cava. You can understand from the superior vena cava it directly enters into the right atrium. So like this, if we measure the pressure, that is called as central venous pressure. And next let us see what is varicose veins. So varicose veins are nothing but the enlarged and tortuous veins that are most commonly seen in lower limbs, although they may also occur somewhere else in our body. So varicose veins means mainly we see in our lower limbs. What are those all mechanism? We'll see it. So veins are nothing but the passageway, means like most of the blood always pool in the, whenever we get injury, the blood pools from the veins because lot of blood, about like 60 to 70% of our blood in our body is stored in our veins. They are also called as reservoirs of blood in circulation. So these are capable of constricting and enlarging or dilating and storing either small or large quantities of blood. And the peripheral veins also propel the blood by venous pump. Venous pump is like as we already seen in lymphatic system, lymphatic pump. So same like that, even here it has a pump to propel the blood out from the peripheral veins and also help to regulate the cardiac output. Of course, how we can regulate the cardiac output? If we push out the blood from a vein. So let us see what is right arterial pressure, central venous pressure. So the central venous pressure is nothing but the right atrial pressure. Why it is called? What is that? Let us see. So blood from all systemic veins, all systemic veins means all body veins, all flow into the right atrium. Of course, because superior vena cava, inferior vena cava, both are connected to our right atrium itself. So all the venous blood always returns to the right atrium of the heart. Therefore, the pressure in the right atrium is called the central venous pressure. That's why it is called as central venous pressure, because all the venous pressure is directly entering into the right atrium. So it is mainly balanced by the ability of heart to pump blood out of the right atrium and also right ventricle to the lungs. And this is also balanced by the tendency for blood to flow from the peripheral veins to right atrium. If right heart is pumping strongly, right atrial pressure decreases because of this pumping mechanism, the blood in the right atrium is now decreased, so the right atrial pressure also decreases. And conversely, weakness of heart elevates to the right atrial pressure. Like in weakness of heart cannot pump now more, so most of the blood remains in the right atrium, so the pressure rises. And also increase in rapid inflow increases the right atrial pressure. So what are the factors? Let us see what are the factors which mainly increase the right atrial pressure. That is increase in blood volume, increase in large vessel tone throughout the body, uh, the resultant increased peripheral venous pressure and dilation of arterioles. Whenever dilated means like this, they are widened, so blood flow increases, uh, which decreases the peripheral resistance and allows the rapid flow of blood from arteries into veins. you know when our vessels get dilated means they have low resistance, so now they can easily move forward into the veins. So actually normally the right atrial pressure is zero normal in normal condition. Atmospheric pressure around the body increases to like about 20 to 30 milligrams of mercury under abnormal conditions. So normally it is zero, but in abnormal conditions it may rise to like about 20 to 30. So those abnormal conditions are like serious heart failure or after massive transfusion of blood, which increases the total blood volume and also cause excessive quantities of blood to attempt the flow into the heart from the peripheral vessels. So whenever transfusion also, blood volume increases. As we know, blood volume increases, of course the blood coming to the right atrium also increases. And lower limit is like -3 to -5, that is below the atmospheric pressure, that is the pressure around the chest cavity that surrounds the heart. So lower limit is like the pressure which is around the chest cavity, even that contributes to the lower limit pressure of a right atrial pressure. So right atrial pressure approaches low values when the peripheral blood flow is decreased or after any hemorrhage, because in hemorrhage there is loss of blood volume. So it is like mostly related with the blood volume. If the blood volume increases, then right atrial pressure increases. If blood volume decreases, then also right atrial pressure decreases. So blood volume is directly proportional to right atrial pressure. Next, coming to large veins. Large veins have little resistance when they are distended. So you can see here large veins are having only little resistance when they are dilated or distended, because when dilated means the resistance is decreased, right? So the large veins are nothing but going to thorax, are compressed at many points by surrounding tissues and blood flow is impeded. So when these large veins are moving towards the thorax, there are many surrounding tissues which compress it. So because of this the flow is impeded. So impeded or stopped. So example, arm veins are compressed by sharp angulations of first rib, and pressure in the neck veins falls so low that atmospheric pressure on outside of the neck causes veins to collapse. So that much low the pressure in the neck veins goes, and abdominal veins are collapsed by the intra-abdominal pressure, which are at least partially collapsed to ovoid or slit-like state, so that least partially converted into this type of shape because of the intra-abdominal pressure in that area. So large veins offer resistance to the blood flow, so pressure is more in peripheral small veins when lying down, that is like about +4 to +6 greater than the right atrial pressure. So normally what they mean to say, in large veins even they give the resistance but not that much when compared with small veins. In small veins, in small peripheral veins, you can see large pressure, especially when lying down, like +4 to +6 millimeters of mercury greater than the right atrial pressure. So next, the effect of increase in right atrial pressure on peripheral venous pressure. So let us see if right atrial pressure increases, how it affects the peripheral venous pressure. So when the right atrial pressure increases from 0, because we know it's normally 0, if it is increasing from 0, the blood start to back up in the veins, because first and the pressure is increasing and the tricuspid valve is closed, so now the blood of course goes back into large veins and even collapse the point of vein open when the right atrial pressure rise above +4 to +6. So if the pressure is like increasing tremendously very large, then it may even collapse the opening of the vein point. So that is at the at tricuspid valve. So if the right atrial pressure is very much high, then there is also increase in peripheral venous pressure in limbs, because it is like giving back pressure. So because as now in the heart it is very high, even in the peripheral veins also it will become very high. So especially in heart failure at rest, pressures are not so elevated. Now let us see what is the effect of intra-abdominal pressure on venous pressure of leg. Normally, this intra-abdominal pressure on venous pressure is like about +6, but it may rise to +15 to +30 mainly in pregnancy. That is, we're saying now we are talking about intra-abdominal pressure. Its normal value is +6, but sometimes it may rise like from 15 to 30 in the case of pregnancy, large tumors in abdomen, abdominal obesity or excessive fluid which is caused by ascites in abdominal cavity. In ascites means a lot of fluid is accumulated in the abdominal cavity. So because of all these conditions, the pressure may increase, the intra-abdominal pressure may increase. So whenever there is increase in intra-abdominal pressure, the pressure in the veins also of course increases above the abdominal pressure before the abdomen veins open and allow the blood flow from the legs to the heart. That is, actually the venous pressure is moving in opposite direction. From our legs it should come to the heart. So when this pressure is so much increased than abdominal pressure, even before the vein opens, this allows, because of this intra-abdominal pressure only, directly this only acts as a pump to flow the blood from the leg to the heart. So therefore, if the intra-abdominal pressure is like about +20, the lowest possible pressure in the femoral veins would be like +20, because this pressure only drives the veins here. So let us see now what is the effect of gravitation in venous pressure. So the pressure of surface of water is equal to normally the atmospheric pressure, but the pressure is high, that is the pressure increases uh, for rise of 1 millimeter for each 13.6 millimeter distance below the surface. So what they mean to say is, if the gravitation distance is like 13.6 millimeters from the surface, then the venous pressure may increase with 1 millimeters of mercury. So this pressure is from the weight of water, and also therefore the gravitational pressure occurs in vascular system of human because of weight of blood in vessels. So mainly this pressure, this weight is due to the blood which is present in our vessels. So normally in a standing position, the right atrium pressure is zero, because already it is in normal condition, because heart pumps into the arteries any excess blood that attempts to accumulate. Whereas in adult in a standing still position, the pressure in the feet veins is plus 90 because of gravitational weight of blood in veins between the heart and the feet. So the venous pressure at other levels of body are proportionally between like 0 and 90. So in arm veins mainly, uh, here P means pressure. Pressure at the top of the rib is like plus 6 because of compression of subclavian vein, as it passes over this rib. So because of this, the top rib pressure is plus 6. So gravitational pressure down length of the arm is determined by the distance below level of this rib. So always we compare this to find out this gravitational value, we always compare it with the distance from the rib. So if the gravitational difference between the level of rib and hand is plus 29 pressure, then this gravitational pressure is plus 6 is added. So this both are added because now we are measuring the distance from the arm. So if this plus 6 is added, this is because this plus 6 is caused because of compression of vein. So total we get 35 millimeters of mercury in the veins of hand. So neck veins are, when a person is standing upright, they collapse all the way to the skull because of atmospheric pressure on outside of the neck. Collapse causes the pressure in these veins to remain at zero along the entire extent. Any tendency for pressure to rise above this level open the veins and allow the pressure to flow back to zero again because of flow of blood. So any tendency for the neck vein pressure to fall below zero collapse the veins still more, and this leads to further increase in resistance and again return the pressure back to zero. So veins inside the skull in non-collapsible chamber, the skull cavity so won't collapse, and negative pressure in dural sinuses of the head, and venous pressure in the sagittal sinus at the top of brain is like minus 10 millimeters of mercury because of hydrostatic suction between the top of skull and base of skull. So therefore the sagittal sinus is open mainly during surgery and air can be sucked immediately into venous system. The air may even pass downward to cause air embolism in heart and also may cause death finally. So here MAP means mean arterial pressure, it's like 100, and arterial pressure normally it's like 190. So this mean arterial pressure is the pressure at the gravitational level of heart but not in an arterial vessels. So gravity causes plus 90 venous pressure in standing adult, and in moving legs the veins compress and squeeze blood out of the veins because of movement also. It may lead to contraction of veins. So valves are in the veins to control the direction of blood flow towards the heart mainly, and this pumping is done by venous pump or muscle pump. In walking adult, the venous pressure is usually less than plus 20 because of the compression of walking muscles. So in still person, that is stand still person is just standing for long time, then the venous pump is not working here, and in the lower leg the pressure increases to like about 90 millimeters of mercury just in 30 seconds. And of course you can understand whenever the pressure is increased, now the fluid can easily ooze out from the capillary into the interstitial fluid, and this may lead to formation of edema. So 10 to 20% of blood volume is lost just within the 15 to 30 minutes. So it may lead to fainting because blood is lost. It may lead to shock like condition, fainting, and this can be mainly avoided by moving the flex knees, joints, so venous pump works. So normally this all can be avoided, like don't stand for a long time like that. We need to move sometimes our legs so that the pumping takes place of venous pump and the venous pump works so that edema will not form. And next, let us see what is varicose veins. So varicose veins are nothing but veins are overstretched here. So the problem is understood. Only this is the main problem. Because the veins are overstretched, now the valves are not overstretched. So the valves are now always kept open. Because of this, the the pressure can't maintain, and this may lead to collapse of valves. So you can see valves incompetent, example in pregnancy or standstill. So there is increase in pressure in legs, and there is also increase in size of veins. So this destroy the valvular function of the vein. So this leads to formation of large bulbous protrusion of veins in the entire leg, especially this is seen in lower legs. Edema like condition is seen, muscle pains and weakness is seen in that muscle, and skin gangrene and ulcerate are also formed, because edema for long time it may then convert into gangrenous and ulcerate. So treatment is always to try to keep the legs high above the heart, and also long compression stockings like thing also can be used, so that we can prevent the compression and let the valves work properly. Now let us check out the clinical estimation of venous pressure. So how can we estimate clinically? So venous pressure is mainly estimated by observing the degree of distension of peripheral veins, means how much the peripheral veins are dilated. According to it, especially we check the neck veins. How much the neck veins are dilated, by that we can clinically observe the venous pressure. So in sitting position the neck veins never distend, but when right atrial pressure increases like about 10 millimeters of mercury, the lower veins of neck mainly begin to protrude, and at plus 15 arterial pressure essentially, and uh, and all veins in the neck become distended. So when the veins start become distending, then you can predict or estimate that there is increase in venous pressure. So venous pressure is mainly measured by inserting a needle to the vein, and also and it is associated with the pressure recorded. We send the catheter, and it is also measured by means of pressure recorded attached to it. So the catheter to the right atrium find the right atrial pressure, and this is called as central venous catheter, and it is mainly used in some types of hospitalized cardiac patients to provide the constant assessment of heart pumping ability. And the gravity affects venous pressure mainly by 1 to 2 millimeters of mercury. This is at or near the tricuspid valve, and that is called the reference level for the pressure measurement, because mainly at the tricuspid valve you are saying, so that is like a reference, it is acting like a reference. So this is called as reference level for the pressure measurement. So heart at the tricuspid has no effect of gravitation. That is increase in tricuspid pressure, then the filling of right ventricle increases. If there is decrease in tricuspid pressure, then the filling of right ventricle is decreasing, and this is leading to blood backup, because the blood is accumulating here. So heart acts as a feedback regulator for pressure at the tricuspid valve. This is very important point. So when the person is lying in his or her back, the tricuspid valve is located at exactly 60% of the chest thickness in front of the back. So this is zero pressure reference level for the person lying down. So we have seen on the basis of tricuspid only we are having two reference levels. The first reference level is called reference level for pressure measurement, that is like 1 to 2 millimeters of mercury near the tricuspid. But it is called a zero pressure reference when when the person is in lying position, because the tricuspid valve is exactly at the 60% of the chest level, and it is at zero pressure reference level for the person lying down. So finally we'll see the blood reservoir. Why veins are called blood reservoir, because they store greater than 60% of the blood in the vein. They are so compliant, they're having lot of elasticity to hold on the blood. And the blood, sometimes when the blood is lost, the arterial pressure decreases. Nervous signals are given from the carotid sinus, because they are the peripheral chemoreceptors which can find out, and it gives a signal to sympathetic nervous system to stimulate. Sympathetic stimulation leads to the constriction of veins. When the veins get constricted, the blood flow decreases but the blood pressure increases. So even loss of 20% of blood by any means, but still the circulatory system is normal. Why? Because of this mechanism, that is, this mechanism is activated, and the veins get constricted, and again the blood pressure becomes normal, and the system gets normal again soon. So specific blood reservoirs. So what are the specific blood reservoirs are like spleen, liver, abdomen veins, venous. Let us see why. So spleen, it actually gives 100 ml of blood. They can release, store and release. And liver, because of the sinusoids present in it, they can release 100 millimeters of blood into the remaining circulation. And the large abdomen veins can release like up to 30 milliliters of blood, and venous plexus can release up to 100 millimeters of blood. And also heart and lungs, heart, when it shrinks because of sympathetic stimulation, it may release 50 to 100 ml of blood. And lungs also can give a 100 to 200 ml of blood. And pump decreases when the pump, when the venous pump decreases to low values. These are all like a compensatory mechanism, because they can easily release the blood into the circulation. And spleen is a venous sinus. In spleen we have venous sinuses, and also we have red pulp, white pulp. In spleen, the venous sinus swell and store blood. When the blood is entering, they receive it by means of swelling, because now the blood has come inside. The splenic pulp capillaries are permeable to whole blood. RBCs ooze out into the trabecular mesh, forming a red pulp. So when this red pulp is nothing but with all the blood cells, RBCs and blood. So this red pulp is special reservoir, and it is having mainly concentrated RBC. And this, because of sympathetic contraction, because of sympathetic stimulation, it leads to contraction. And because of this contraction, is tried to expel out this concentration RBC. Like it can expel the 50 ml of concentration RBC. And it can also lead to raise in hematocrit, because it is a pure RBC. So because of this release, now the hematocrit may rise like about 1 to 2%. And white pulp mainly have islands of WBC cells, and lymphoid cells are also mainly manufactured here. And this is also playing a part of body's immune system, because already WBC leukocytes are involved in lymphatic, sorry, involved in immune system. So this is all like an overview of this lesson. Let us also see some diagrams from our textbook. So here you can check out the compression points that tend to collapse of veins entering the thorax. We already seen in our theory part that the veins which are entering the thorax are surrounded by some tissues and getting compressed. So you can see here, because of abdominal pressure they may collapse, and here intrathoracic pressure, and because of rib collapse and axillary collapse, atmospheric collapse in next. Means collapse here means that they are affected, they are compressed because of this factors like atmospheric pressure, because of ribs, because of axillary components, because of intrathoracic pressure, abdominal pressure. And you can see one more diagram, the effect of gravitational pressure on venous pressure throughout the body in standing position. So you can see the person is standing still, and here these are all the pressures which are acting, like sagittal sinus -10, and atmospheric pressure 0. Here also atmospheric pressure 0. Here you can see +6, it's a axillary pressure. Here +8, this is also axillary, this may be rib. And this +22 is like abdominal pressure, and this +35 in hand, and +40, +90. So these are all the effect of gravitational pressure on the venous pressure throughout the body. And here you can see the venous valves of the legs. So these are the valves. So this main motto of this valves is to always flow the venous blood towards the heart. So they help in directional movement of the blood towards the heart. So you can see this is a perforating vein, this is a superficial vein. And here we have the reference point for circulatory pressure measurement located near the tricuspid valve. As we said, we have reference point, we have zero reference point, all these points. These are mainly related according to the tricuspid valve, which is present between the right atrium and right ventricle. And this is the natural reference point. So here you can see the spleen, last part we have discussed. It has red pulp, white pulp, capillaries, venous sinuses, vein and artery. So this is all about our cardiovascular physiology lesson 41 from our guide.